Have you ever seen such a beautiful night? Yeah, we're getting ready today and we're chit-chatting. Oh, we're going to talk about finding your style today as I get ready because somebody asked, what's really annoying is like I record this on my phone. And so I was like, how am I going to see the comments when I'm recording? The answer is I just picked one and then I said, and then I'll go. And here I am going, but now I forgot who the person was. So we'll just all forgive each other and you guys forgive me the most. And this will be uncut. I love uncut things, because it's like, how about we just ride the ride? Everybody's doing so much editing. And honestly, I do a lot of editing that sometimes I'm like, what if I didn't edit? It's so raw. Let's be raw. You know what I mean? Okay, so how do you find your style? This is so fun. So fun. And I don't know why style can feel scary, because this is why it feels scary. Ready? Everyone's going to tell you to pick a lane. They're like, pick a style. You're preppy. You're preppy. You want a clean girl aesthetic. You better be wearing white and beige. Oh, I'm punk. Like, there's so many people who are going to want you to pick a lane so that you can follow certain rules, so that you can do certain... And here's the thing about me, and dare I say possibly could be you. I don't like anyone tell me what to do, okay? And I find in this lifetime, I love the ability to change my mind. I think it's one of the most gorgeous, beautiful freedoms we can have. I remember when I was a kid, I was like in my early 20s, but my friend was dating this guy, and she was saying how they weren't going to get married, but she found it really romantic that every day they'd wake up and decide to choose each other. And if they didn't, they would break up. And I was like, I would die. I want a ring because I want to know that the person can't leave, which you can hear comes from a place of fear a little bit. And now that I've gotten older, I'm like, wow, that's really a beautiful concept. Essentially, it's giving yourself, and that is true, is the thing. Like, even if you marry somebody and all of a sudden you realize like that person's not bringing you joy, or you don't feel supported or whatever else, you're allowed to change your mind. So it's a beautiful thing. So style is the exact same way. If you ask me what my style is, like, my style is fun. Like, it's just fun. And it's whatever feels fun to me. I love to dress punk. I love to dress like a princess. I love to dress like a business exec who's going to fire the entire team. I love to dress whimsical. I love to dress childlike. I love to dress like an adult. I love to dress like a grandmother. I love to dress however I feel. And I think that's why, like, I honestly love my style so much, and I feel like people can feel that. It's because, like, I don't give myself rules, and I don't give myself, like, any type of lane I need to be in. So if you're like, I need to figure out my style because everybody says you need to know what it is, your first job is to go out and just pick things you like. Or even on Instagram, if you see images or Pinterest, whatever, of people that you're like, I love that. Like, I would love to wear that. Or I think that's really cool. And if you say things like, I love that, but I don't have a reason to wear that, or I don't know where I'd wear that, or I couldn't pull that off, you're wrong. Okay? That's the fear in your head talking. We won't listen to her. We can hear her. She sits in the back seat. We're like, come along for the journey. Happy to have, someone to help with the harmonies, but honey, you're not driving. So you can have those feelings. We all do, but ultimately that girl's not picking the wardrobe and what you're getting dressed in. So that's the first thing you've got to do. So like me, even at some point, I'm going to put out a video about like my sort of origin story, even with style and fashion and getting dressed, because like, I wasn't always this way. I don't come from a household where like my parents express themselves with the way that they get dressed. But when I saw a woman in public dressed in just a fun, joyous, colorful way, I would be like, oh, that's who I want to be. And then I started buying and collecting pieces that I loved. And but I didn't have the courage to wear them. So they would just sort of sit in my home, in my closet. And when I saw somebody in public who wore those things, I would feel like, that's who I am on the inside. Like, I wish I could be this person on the outside, but like, I'm like you too. And slowly, it's just giving yourself permission to do that. And also it can be like low stakes. Like it can be the post office. I've worn ball gowns and very crazy things to the post office. I think people at the post office are very sad a lot of times. So I'm like, you know what? If I can change the mood. Also, I'm scared at the post office. I find I'm always in trouble, and everyone's angry. So I always normally get really tense. So when I dress fun, I'm like, no one could be mad at me. I'm wearing a ball gown, right? That's my theory. So the first step in your style is literally to just find pictures and see things that you like, or I used to have a rule that's always like, if I gasp, like if air goes in or out, that's my item. So if you're like, you have to get it. You have to get it. That's your body saying, please. And then your brain's going to be like, but where would we wear it? Oh, but it's this much money. Oh, but, and you can't, you got to go with your body. Your body knows. Then now you're going to start accumulating. Oh, look at that. I've got this. I've got that. I've got this. I've got that. Now you're going to go, but I don't know how to style it. Okay. First things first. No one's playing dress up anymore. I might film some of my dress up nights that I do by myself. Like sometimes I just have dress up nights, or nights where I'm like going through my closet and sort of remembering who is in there and the pieces I have, and being like, oh my God, I haven't worn this dress in so long. I better whip it out tonight, or whip it out this week or something. So kind of going back through, look at this. This, you're getting some raw footage of just me and my hair. So having a dress up night and just playing. Okay, you're just gonna play. Let's pretend it's like a feather boa, right? Play. Try it with a business suit. Oh, interesting. What a juxtaposition. What a clash. Interesting. Oh, try it with a dress. With a dress the same color, and with a dress like on the opposite side of the color wheel, or right next to it, try that. Pick an accessory and let that inspire how you go. Just play. Then, the shedding that happens, you know what I mean? Then you're going to practice going outside in it. And possibly the first few times you do it, maybe you want to meet like a friend, or, so you don't feel nervous. But then you're just going to start, I think, at least this is what happened to me. I started to feel most like myself then. So I felt kind of like this light inside of me shine, and I felt magnetic, and I felt excited. And I mean, at first, of course, I felt nervous. I was like, oh my God. I mean, sometimes that's what's nice about New York, is most of the time I feel no one cares, but I do feel the base of no one cares everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm always like, I don't really think people care that much, but you can go out, you can sort of feel that. Ow. This is so raw what we're doing. And just kind of feel that. And that is how I would suggest that you play with your style, and you figure out what it is that you like and you don't like. And I think that sometimes online, or even with stylists, like they want people to dress a certain way, or say that things are right or wrong. Like, oh, that doesn't look good, or that looks good. And I'm always like, what the heck? It's sort of like, I always compare it to Say Yes to the Dress, fun show. And I used to be so pissed, and ultimately I'm like, what's the game? We all know what the game is. The game is, when the bride comes out in the dress, just look at her face. If she looks happy and like, she found the dress and she's so excited, like that's the dress. And your job is to make sure like you see when your friend is elated and feels like herself. And I'm so mad all the time at the friend or the mom who's like, that's not your color. That's not your cut. It's like, it doesn't matter what they think. It matters what you think. So it's figuring out what feels good for you. And that's it. My style is what I like. That's the definition. And to be honest, I think that should be everybody's style. Because I sort of just don't understand like wearing things for any other reason. Maybe because you want to be looked at a certain way or perceived a certain way. But to me, there's an act of performing with that. And I grew up performing, which is great, but it also becomes like a defense mechanism, you know? And I find when I got older and I sort of stopped performing, I was like, God, there's way more freedom in that. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm performing or I'm trying to fit in or I'm getting certain people to like me. I want to just be myself and then be polarizing. Like, some people see me on the street and certainly are like, what's going on? Who's she? Where's she up to? Oh, that's Winnie. And then some people love what I look like and want to say hello and say that, you know, my accessories are great. And those are the people I want to talk to anyway. So why do I care about the people who aren't for me, you know? So that is what I would say about finding your style. Let me know. Maybe I'll create a series that's like around this for people. I don't know. I'm working on a project that's gonna be helpful for this too. But yeah, that's what I took away. And to be honest, I did for a little, maybe like a year or so ago, I was sort of working as a stylist. And what I took away from it was always, it doesn't matter what I think. And I don't want them to dress the way I dress because they think that's how, like, I want them to dress. I want them to figure out when they feel like themselves. That makes a good stylist because ultimately we're finding their style, not mine. I already know mine. So let me know if that helped. Okay. Somebody else asked, okay, because I don't know, some of you might know, I was on Summer House. I was also on Real Housewives of New York. Fun fact. So let me tell you about both of those experiences. Someone asked about my career too. Okay, so I moved to New York. I grew up in Virginia. I went to Syracuse. I moved to New York and I wanted to be a performer, but I was sort of too scared to do that. So I was working a lot, like behind the scenes, writing, producing, directing. I worked as a page at the Late Show with David Letterman. And then I started working for different media companies, creating video content for them. So I was working at Betches, and I became friends with and worked with Hannah Berner, who I love. And she got cast on this show, and she was putting out her promo for her podcast, and we worked together a lot, and I directed a lot of her content. So she was like, do you want to direct the video for that and be on the show? And I was like, yeah, of course. And it was so fun, and it was so crazy in the sense of, like, you know, I think reality shows just are crazy. But what's also crazy about that is I get so many messages about that all the time. Like, all the time. And I'm like, it's just so funny how big Bravo is, you know? And by the way, back then in that clip, you can tell I'm experimenting with my style a little bit. Like, I think I was wearing a cool, funky sweater, or at least at the time I thought it was so cool and funky because it was colorful. And, you know, at the time when I was working in an office, people were like, whoa, little did they know who I would become. But you can tell I didn't fully know myself at that point. But I was doing the best I could. Then, I don't know what season it is of Real Housewives, but Luann puts on a comedy show. And so I had been doing stand-up in New York. I stopped just because it was a lifestyle, and a sort of, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. I didn't want to be out late. And I knew I was going to find my audience, like, online. I just had a feeling of that. And so I started ghostwriting for different people. and some of them were in the reality show universe. So this girl who was putting on the show, or, you know, knew through Luann, was like, do you want to be on the show? Because I was ghostwriting, or I was helping her. And actually, I was trying to ghostwrite for Luann. I was like, please let me ghostwrite your cabaret show. I would love to do that. Like, writing jokes for other people is so fun, because it's cool to be, you know, writing in a different voice. Some of the jokes, like, I got to ghostwrite with different people. It's like, oh, I would never get to tell these jokes. This isn't my life. Like, I wouldn't ever get to do this. So it was always really fun and exciting. So I did that show, which was such chaos, because there was 2 shows happening at the same time. There was the live show, comedy show, and then there were the housewives with cameras and lights on them, and they were talking the whole time. So it was really, really chaotic. And the show, the theme was about bullying. And so one thing about me is, like, a lot of stand-ups or comedians will perform sort of the same material a lot. But I love writing. So when the theme was bullying, I was like, great, I'm going to write about, like, my story with bullying and talk about my mental health and all that stuff. So I did. And the clip in the show is me being like, I had trichotillomania, which means I pulled my hair out. And I think Ramona goes, ooh, and then it, like, goes to someone else. And I went, and those are my moments of fame. And again, I can't explain to you how many messages I got about that. I was like, I wish they had kept in the punchline. But you know what? It was still really cool. And it was cool at the time. Like, all my friends came to the show. And, you know, I invited all my Bravo friends. And we just had so much fun. Like, the show was fun. And then afterwards, we hung out and essentially just watched the housewives, like, fight. Because there was, like, a big fight that episode with Tinsley and somebody else. And so they fought in that basement, and I saw it live, and it was really cool. So that's my Bravo little story, little stint. Let's see. I forget, what did somebody else ask? Oh, I talked about my career a little bit. Okay, so right now, my career, what I'm doing is I am trying to transition to being a full-time content creator. And so that's going pretty well, but I'm still, I work with different companies or influencers or individuals, helping them create content. So, and it's actually very funny, because at the beginning of this year, in January, what am I doing? Okay, let me get my makeup. I was starting to work with this person and to help them write and create content for themselves. And I was really excited about it, because it was like 2 or 3 days a week, which is pretty good. I was like, okay, 2 to 3 days a week, I will be working. And then the rest of the time, like, I get to focus on myself. And I was like, I'm excited with that, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, I've spent so much of my adult life really kind of figuring out myself and chasing my dream and having a lot of financial struggles. And so, I had for a few years essentially been trying to figure out what to do, and just nothing had clicked, that I was like, I need something that's consistent so I'm not stressed, because I don't work well stressed. I really don't. I don't work well stressed. So long story short, I start working with this woman, and in March, we had to take a break. And so during that break, I was like, okay, Jessie, because also I thought the break was only going to be like a month or 2. So at the time I was like, okay, you're getting this break. You're going to have a guaranteed job when the break is over. Like, what if you did what you do for other people for yourself? Like, what if you helped yourself, like, create series and really looked at yourself as a brand, the way that you're able to look at other people? And I really had to sit with myself, because I was like, for a really long time, I could work with other people or other jobs and companies if I believed in the product and I believed in the person. I believed in, the goal. And for a long time, I didn't believe in myself. So I really was incapable of sort of figuring out how to see myself that way. But then literally, I feel like in March this year, I was like, go full throttle. Like I would look at myself as like a consultant, where I'd be like, all right, I'm coming in as a consultant, like thinking about myself, like coming up with ideas, having shoot days, like really spending time doing the things I did for other people for myself. And then everything kind of started taking off. And I still have a few clients that I work with. And ultimately, like, I feel like I'm in the best place I've ever been in, which is so exciting. And I feel like my dad said to me, like a few years, I don't remember when, he was like, what is it that you want to do or be? And I was like, I really just want to be like me. Which is like, sorry, I'm such a crier, but I feel like it's such a beautiful thing to get to, like, I just had so much trouble not being myself. And I think I wasn't myself for so long that, like, once I figured out who I was like, I don't want to be anybody else. Like, I don't want to even, like, do anything else. I wish I could just be myself all the time. I wish I could just be a professional me, is like what my dad said. And as like I started growing, he was like, wow, you're really just being a professional you. And I was like, yeah. So that's been really cool. I think what I'm trying to work on now is kind of sharing all the different parts and sides of me. And like one of the things I like most about myself is, like, I love being raw and vulnerable. I love crying. Like, it's so powerful. I normally only cry when I hit on something super truthful, or I feel really overwhelmed by a certain emotion. And I used to hate that about myself, and now I consider it like my gift. Like, I'll be like, wow, I'm really saying something true or meaningful, or, it's just, I look at that part of myself really differently. And I think, I have all this fun content and fun things I want to shoot. And then I also have this side of me that's like, I want to share who I am, and I want to help people feel confident and powerful and dress for fun and, just live a joyous life. Like I always say, I'm aggressively seeking joy. Like I don't passively do it. Like I'm out there fighting for joy, and like that, I want everybody to be doing that because it's worth it and it's so fun. I feel great. That girl, I love a good cry. Ooh, boy. Okay, so if you liked this, I'll do it again. You can write more questions in the comments. I'll keep going through it. We can talk about different things. I simply love it. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm excited to be doing this. And this is the thing about a one take. It's like, all right, Jesse, wrap it up. So thank you guys so much. I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.